Hey, what's going on, guys? ZakuAurelius here, reporting live for Gunpla News 2025, the first Gunpla News video that we're doing for 2025. And I don't always do these Gunpla News videos when Bandai has their new item or new phase hobby info or new hobby info item drop announcements, where basically they kind of do these quarterly news announcement drops where they'll put out information on kind of what's upcoming new products are. And yeah, I don't always do these video breakdowns just because, you know, sometimes it's more exciting than others. This one was, although particularly exciting, so that's why I wanted to make this video talking to you guys in particular about the new Gunpla stuff that we have on the way, because there's a lot of really cool, exciting stuff in here. And there's a lot of other stuff too, like 30 minutes missions, 30 minutes sisters, 30 minutes fantasy, and etc. Other Bandai stuff that's on the way. So I encourage you guys to check all that out on their website and Twitter. I'll touch on a little bit of some of that other stuff, but you know, mostly going to focus on the Gunpla stuff, as that's kind of what we typically focus on here. Other mecha stuff, of course, is of interest, so we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But real quick, the super simple breakdown of what we got is that we got some really cool new announcements. We have no new announcements for anything that's like full 1/100 scale, so no new Master Grade. We do have a new Master Grade SD, but nothing as like a new Master Grade or a new Master Grade Verka or a new Master Grade EX, no RE100, no full mechanics, so nothing like that. That's unfortunate. Also don't have anything that's like new pure SD. What I would have loved to see would have been like a new SD cross silhouette kit announcement, but nothing for that either. Like I said, we do have an MGSD, so it kind of like is a mix of the two, right? But for those of you guys who are looking for something in 1/100 scale, it's not a good day, or SD, not really a good day either. But we have a lot of really cool stuff here to look forward to. And a lot of this is, of course, going to be related to the new HGUC series. So, of course, with the new series starting, we're going to be seeing kind of either monthly or multiple new HG kits coming out monthly from this new series. And so we've got some of those here to talk about too. So let's start off with the new real grade. So our next real grade here is going to be the Wing Gundam Zero, coming out in September with a Japanese MSRP of 4,200 yen. Personally, I love the Wing Gundam Zero design. It's always been kind of one of my favorite wing variations since seeing this in the TV show. And I used to have like the action figure and everything back in the day. So I really love the Wing Zero, and so I'm really excited about this. It is kind of surprising that it's yet another version of the Wing Gundam in the RG line. This makes 4 different Wing Gundam model kits in the RG line of, I think this will make the 42nd kit in the line if I'm counting correctly. That makes the Wing Gundam representation about 1/10 or almost 10% of the entire standard release RG line, which is kind of funny, but hey, it's I guess it's popular, so it's exciting. One thing to note, if you're wondering about how much of this kit may be recycled, because that's always kind of something people are wondering about whenever we get variants or anything like this with the RG kits. According to what's on the website, this is going to be a completely new kit, so nothing's going to be recycled here from older kits, not even from the Wing Gundam like TV version of that, so it's going to be an entirely new kit, so that'll be nice. It looks fantastic. Really love the design of this one. It's got all the kind of typical stuff you would expect for an RG. A lot of really nice color separation with like the 2-tone white in there. It looks like maybe only one color of blue and one color of red, but it's got some nice detail on there. But one thing that I find with this one, it's not as detailed as we've seen with other real grades, which I really like. I mean, some people like having like a ton of detail on there. This one is a little bit more subtle with the details, and I really like it. I think it really matches with the design really well. So, I mean, that's something that some people may like, some people may not, but it doesn't have quite as much surface detail as we've seen in other real grade releases. So just something to know. But of course, it has all the standard kind of things you would expect for the Wing Zero. It's able to transform into the Neo Bird mode. It has the twin Buster rifles that you can use. And it looks like the shield is also going to be pretty standard without any kind of moving or extension function or anything like that in the shield. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I think it looks fantastic. This is going to be a really nice kit, and I gotta say, yeah, really looking forward to that one for sure. All right, next up then, moving on to the MGSD, which I mentioned is going to be the Aerial. So this is actually one in the live streams that Adam and I have been doing on the USA Gundam TV YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked that out, please check that out, especially the live streams, because we answer a bunch of your guys' questions. We talk about kind of what we're thinking might be coming out in the future and things like that as well. So in our many discussions about future predictions, one thing that we've mentioned is as a possible candidate for the MGSD line is the Aerial Gundam, just because it's a fairly recent series. Now it's not the most recent series now at this point, but still pretty fresh on everybody's mind, still a popular design. We were expecting, we would either see an MG or an MGSD aerial at some point, and I would imagine we probably still will see like a full-on Master Grade aerial Gundam at some point, but it looks like with the release of the MGSD first, that's going to probably push back the release of the regular MG probably a few more years now. So if you're waiting for that, fortunately, the full mechanics kit is fantastic. If you really want a 1/100 scale version of the aerial, I would say definitely check out the full mechanics kit. And Master Grade, whenever that's released, probably will be nicer. But anyway, in the meantime, we have this MGSD, which is really, really cool. If you're not a fan of the proportions, if you haven't checked out the MGSD line, I would highly recommend you do. I've never been super into SD stuff generally, but I really, really enjoy the MGSD line. The kits are just so nice. They're really fantastic. So this is definitely going to be one that I'm looking forward to. Now this kit is going to be coming out in August for the MSRP of 3,900 yen, so a very reasonable price for this one, as well as I've felt kind of all of the MGSD kits have been priced, really nicely. People have had disagreements about that, expecting them to cost something more like an SD, but I mean, they are still Master Grades at the end of the day, and as I said, if you've ever built any of them, like the engineering and the details and the parts and everything, I think very much warrants the price of these, but you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as far as the pricing goes for these. But this looks like it's going to be utilizing similar parts to the full mechanics kit, where it has like this red candy coated metallic plated parts for under the clear parts, and the clear parts over that for like in the thighs, the chest, in the head. And so it's going to be very similar, I guess, to like the full mechanics kit, like a shrunken down version of that, but I'm sure we'll see, definitely improvements in the mechanics and the engineering of this to make it, more like an MG, like we can see with the full inner frame and everything that we've got in there with that. I mean, it looks incredibly detailed, looks really, really nice. We also have some silver plated parts, either silver plated or some silver, it just says metallic silver parts that you've got in there for some additional details you can see, here and there in the kit as well. So it'll have some nice color separation even on like the frame parts that you see like poking out through the armor and everything. Standard loadout of weapons and accessories for this, with basically just the shield, the beam rifle, basically the same like the HG. This is the shield, the beam rifle, the effect part for the beam rifle, and the beam sabers. There are stand parts that you can see included in one of the photos there. Those are not going to be included with the kit. That's something you'll have to get separately. Again, very similar like we've seen with other versions of this kit. So unfortunately, that's not going to be included. But again, I think for the price point, it makes sense. You have to get the stand separately if you want to use that. Personally, I'm not really a huge fan of that as a display option for this kit anyway. I kind of just like to keep everything on the Gundam, but this, again, like the RG wing, is something I'm definitely looking forward to. Up next, the other big announcement that I'm particularly looking forward to is another HGUC kit here. We're finally getting the HGUC Gallus J, and I think it looks awesome. So it was like a time recently when we just weren't getting anything HGUC for a long time. We were getting really nice other HG stuff, but we weren't getting anything HGUC for a while. Recently, we got the Bolinox Saman, and then we also are getting the Psycho Gundam Mark II, and now we're getting the Gallus J. So really great to see some more new HGUC stuff coming out, and the Gallus J looks really awesome. One thing that I wanted to point out that I think is really nice about this is, it sucks that it took a long time to get this kit, but I think, imagine if this kit would have come out, 10 years ago, 15 years ago or something, how much nicer it's going to be now that it's coming out now. I mean, the part separation, the color separation, just the engineering overall is going to be so much better. So yeah, it was a long wait, but I think it's definitely going to be worth the wait, especially with all like the little color apps and everything. It's probably going to be very similar to like what we saw with the Bolinox Saman. And that's going to have some really great color separation, probably still going to have a few stickers here and there, but you can imagine, like I said, if this had come out, a decade or more ago, how many more stickers, how many more panel lines this would have had as a HG. So I think it's going to be a really, really nice HG kit. This one's coming out in August as well for 2,500 yen. Pretty reasonable price for this one. The Gallus J, I believe, is a little bit larger mobile suit, not quite as big as like what we've seen with some of the larger suits from the series. But I think this looks fantastic. And I mean, between the RG wing, the MGSD aerial, and this, I mean, these are all three kits that I'm really, really looking forward to later on this year. So really, really good stuff. Really excited for that. Not really too much else I think that we can like break down with this. It looks like it comes with some nice option parts for some of the gimmicks of the mobile suit too, which is going to be good. And then I know there are some other different variations of this too, I believe. So we'll probably see one or two different Bandai variations of this. I'm not exactly, it's not a suit that I'm super familiar with, but you guys can let me know what variations you would like to see and what you expect we might see in the comments. Now let's get into the HGGQ stuff. So like I said, with this being a new series, we're going to see a lot of stuff from from this series over the next few months, probably next year or so. First off, we have the HGUC Military and Police Zaku. This is the Zaku that we saw like in that trailer very, very shortly. But everyone was really excited, really impressed with how it looked there, and I think it looks fantastic seeing this now in full form, and I'm sure we're going to see other variants of this out in the line later on. So, I mean, if you like the design, but maybe you're not super into this variant, maybe wait and see what else we get, but this is being the first one. This is coming out in April for 2,000 yen, so really nice, reasonable price here for this one. Again, just based off of everything that you can see with how much detail and everything that this comes with. A lot of those markings and everything, of course, going to be stickers for this, so not really the best option, but we are going to have some water slides coming out for this series, it looks like, and we'll talk some more about that here in a minute. But really cool details on there. Love all the details, the designs of this one. I really like how this is like our Zaku clone for the series, but it does also have a lot of similarities in the design, I feel like, to something more like a Tyrion from Gundam 00, with it being like very utilitarian looking and having this kind of really mechanical design. It almost looks like something that you would expect to see like out of Patlabor or something like that as well too. So a super cool design. I feel like I'm not alone saying that. Really looking forward to this one. The lights up on the top of the shoulders is an interesting detail, and it looks to me like that's a very similar detail as to what we can see on like the Gundam type mobile suits. And in that, basically, those are just going to be like plugged into like a 3mm hard point. So like you could very easily just omit those if you're not a big fan of the lights up on the top. And then those are just going to be hard points where you could plug other different accessories into or something like that if you wanted to. Missile pods or additional armor or whatever else. So it looks like this one's going to be pretty nicely, highly customizable as well. And like I said, I'm sure we're going to see variants that are also going to utilize some of those points of customization, but we'll see. Anyway, for this, yeah, really cool design, really cool color scheme too, with it being different. It's not in just like a kind of standard Zaku green, which you might expect. I'm sure we will probably see that in a different variation, as we have seen art for a few different variations out, I believe, so far. But at least for this one, being in that darker black and blue kind of color scheme, I think really works. And with it being a police mobile suit, that also just kind of makes sense. And it looks like it's going to be coming with just kind of standard accessories, 2 holding hands, one open hand for the left side only, and then this version of the Zaku machine gun and the Heat Hawks. So pretty much standard like Zaku accessories you would expect for this one, but looks fantastic. Really looking forward to this one as well. And now let's move on to the Gundam type mobile suits. So we have the Red Gundam. This one's going to be coming in May for 2,500 yen. It looks like this one's going to be coming with quite a lot more in terms of the accessories. You have like all the little cap pieces. You have a open hand option, again, for the left side only. You've got the shield, the beam rifle, the beam sabers. That's all pretty standard. But then you also have this version of the Gundam Hammer, which is like that long ball and chain kind of a weapon there. And then 2 of those large funnels, which look really cool. Now, we've seen it in other different illustrations, and I guess I'm not sure about how it looks in the anime, but we have seen it at different times with 4 of those large funnels. So it looks like you're going to have to get 2 of this kit if you want to recreate that. I'm not sure if those funnels, like extra funnels, are going to be available as like an option part set or something like that. I would assume maybe not. We might see a premium Bandai variation release of this where it comes with 4 and maybe something else as well, like some included stands or effect parts or something like that possibly. It looks like, looking at these, that some different like figurized blast effect parts will be compatible with those. As you can see from behind, it does look like there's a 3mm hard point in the backside of those funnels, so it looks like you should be able to plug them onto action bases just on their own, or use them with the effect parts. So that's good news. But again, as far as I've seen, that's not confirmed, so don't take my word for it, but that's just what I can infer based on what I'm seeing here so far. Very interesting design. You know, there's been a lot of debate about the designs of the Gundams and the kind of all the mobile suits from this series, but in the Gundams in particular, you know, personally, I'm still not super sold on the designs. There's a lot of details going on in there, and so it's a little bit overly detailed, I think, for me personally. I gotta actually build the kit and kind of have it in hand and see it in anime to get a better sense of kind of my own personal feelings on it. I definitely like the look of the kit better than I liked the look of the line art, and that kind of tends to happen. People have been pointing out that happens all the time. We get the line art, everybody says it looks ugly, and then we get the kit and everybody's like, well, okay, it looks kind of good. So that, as usual, seems to be the case with this one as well, myself included. You know, I definitely think the kit looks better than the line art. That's just my opinion on it. You guys can surely let me know your opinions, but I've been seeing a lot of talk about this, and people kind of have differing opinions on what they think about the design. I'm just saying, you know, for me at this point, I'm still not super sold, but it's certainly interesting. I'm certainly looking forward to checking out the kit, you know, for myself firsthand, and then I'll kind of have a better sense of how much I really like it or not. The Xeon, kind of very damaged Xeon logo that you can kind of see there on the shield, which is really cool, kind of covering up the typical like EFSF cross on there, which is really interesting. That again surely is going to be a sticker, but we are going to have some water slides, like I said, sets that are going to be coming out as well, which will give you some water slides for that. We'll see some more of that here in just a second, but we do have one more new HG kit to talk about here from the series, and that's going to be the HG Light Cannon. This one's coming out in July for 2,000 yen here for this one as well. Now, my first thought was that this is supposed to be kind of our GQuax version of the gun cannon, but I guess people are saying that this is actually more like the GQuax version of the gym cannon, so not the gun cannon, but the gym cannon, just due to it having the single cannon and also the different style head, the gym style head, I guess due to its designation number that people have seen in different art. So anyway, this is the light cannon. It's sort of like a gym cannon, sort of like a gun cannon, more in its coloration anyway, but in terms of like what it comes with too, with it just having the rifle that it has is very similar to like the gun cannon's rifle. But anyway, whatever we're comparing it to from past releases, this release again looks really cool. It doesn't have quite as much chunk as we would know for like a typical gun cannon to have. Typically it's like a fairly bulky in terms of like the legs in particular. This one has the more slimmed down legs there. But again, really interesting design. I just kind of have the same thoughts, just personally speaking, about this one, you know, with the red Gundam as well. I'm not super sold on the design, but I want to check it out for myself. You know, one thing that these kits definitely have is, you know, a ton of detail and just some very interesting design elements that are certainly very unique. So this is, like I said in my video talking about, you know, once we got the first announcement for this series, you know, if nothing else, you can say that these designs are certainly very unique, and that's one thing that, you know, I have to give props to Bandai for kind of going out on a limb, making something unique like this, because it's a kind of situation where either they make something that's, you know, very familiar and then people complain that it's boring, it's nothing original, or they make something really original and people complain that it looks too different or too weird or too ugly. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for Bandai. Whatever you do, people are going to complain. People always have their own opinions about things, but you certainly can't say that these new designs are not unique. So all of those I think look really interesting. The Zaku, probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, but let me know in the comments which one of those new HG GQuax kits are you most looking forward to. Now, that's not all for the series. We are going to be getting a couple of Figurized Standard kits out as well, kind of no surprise there. Of course, of our main character, Machu, we're getting a Figurized Standard release here of her, which does come with some interesting stuff. So it comes with some interesting detail parts or option parts here for the clothing. You can either have her like with the jacket on or off. It also comes with her haro, complete with the signature beanie on there, that purple beanie with the elephant on it. I'm assuming that will fit on the head. So far, what I've seen, I haven't seen any images of this showing it with that beanie on Machu's head, but I'm assuming that it will fit, as it does say that the hat is removable from the haro. So that would make sense to me that it's removable from the haro and then you can put it on her head. It does look like it's obviously kind of a similar shape, right? And it is cool how you have like the blue highlights in the hair as like a separate part. So like the colors on this one look really nice and everything. I'm sure there are still going to be some stickers for some of the smaller little color apps, but it looks like you got some good options there. For the face option parts, it shows 3 different optional faces. Only one is actually printed. The other 2 you have to use waterslide decals for, but it does look like the waterslide decals are going to be included. It's something that we've seen with other releases as well, so that's not new, but that's nice. This one's going to be coming out in June for 3,800 yen, so it is a little bit pricier, but it does look like you get quite a lot of stuff in there. So if you're a fan of this character, you know, once the series kicks off, or maybe you're just a fan already, even kind of without seeing it, or if you've seen the movie already, if you're a fan of the character, definitely worth checking out there. It looks like it's going to be a pretty nice Figurized Standard release. But not only her, we are also going to have a Figurized Standard release here for Nyan, another character there from this series. Now this one doesn't look like it comes with quite as much, but still like some similar option parts in terms of what we're going to be getting for a clothing option part. She's also got her backpack and then that other kind of, not haro, but that other little like block kind of mini droid there. Some nice hand and face option parts there, the cell phone, the sunglasses. And it looks like similarly with this one, the purple highlights in her hair is also going to be like color separated parts. So some nice details. Also hair parts for this to either have like the long hair down or to be tied back in a ponytail. So you get some nice option parts with this one, which again is going to contribute to the price of this one being priced the same at 3,800 yen. This one also coming out in July. So looks like it's going to be another, like I said, pretty nice Figurized Standard kit. Personally, for both these Figurized Standard releases, probably going to be skipping them myself. Many times in the past, you guys may have seen, As I've talked about, these Figurized standard releases look nice, and they are, pretty objectively nice. They're just not quite for me. I prefer Bandai's other like 30-minute sisters, other releases kind of more than these. So they're pretty nice. I don't really enjoy them, quite as much as I would like to. But again, if you're a fan of the character, then these are really nice options for you to have, and they're fun to build. Now, as I said, we're getting some decals. So we got some decal announcements here. Nothing really too much to show about these. So basically, we got waterslide decal announcements for GQuax General Purpose 1 and General Purpose 2. So it's going to be 2 different decal sets coming out. All we really know is what they've shown here, for General Purpose 1, is that they've shown a picture of the GQuax itself, so it's probably going to have all the decals for that. But then it'll probably also feature some decals for some of the other suits or some other different markings and stuff. We don't really know for sure. For the set 2, shows the Red Gundam, so that'll have, for example, that decal like I was talking about for the damaged Xeon logo on the shield, probably some other stuff for the Red Gundam, and then probably some other stuff for maybe the Zaku. I'm not sure which of the decal sets the Zaku decals are going to be on, or maybe for the light cannon or whatever, but expect for these first handful of releases to be covered in terms of any waterslide decals for them in these first couple of waterslide decal releases. And I'm glad that these waterslide decals are coming out in a pretty timely fashion. You don't have to wait months or even a year or more for these to come out after the release of the kit, with looks like both of these decal sets coming out in September for 500 yen each. So pretty nice price for those, pretty standard. They're just kind of Bandai's standard decal size, I would imagine, decal sheet size. But considering the complex markings that a lot of these mobile suits seem like they have, this is something I would definitely recommend picking up. Whether you're planning on painting the kits or not, even if you're not planning on painting the kits, I would recommend picking up the water slides, because they're definitely going to be a better option than the stickers. Just build the kit, put the waterslide decals on there, some panel lining, some top coat, and they're probably going to look really, really good. So I would recommend checking out those waterslide decals for those sets. But not only that, we are also getting some waterslide sets for some of the Seed Freedom kits. So this is what I was saying. Sometimes the decal sets come out way later. In this case, almost a year later for some of these. So we've got 2. It's again just General Purpose 1 and General Purpose 2 Seed Freedom sets. These are going to be for the HGs. So for General Purpose 1, it's saying that these are going to be for the Rising Freedom, the Immortal Justice, the Black Knight Squad Shiva, etc. and more. So it's probably going to be for some other different options for some of the other Black Knight Squad in there as well, but probably mostly for those 2 Gundams. And then set 2 is going to be for the Mighty Strike Freedom, Infinite Justice Gundam Type 2, the Black Knight Squad, Kalrea, etc. So it'll probably cover a couple of other releases in there too. There might be some marking decals in there for something like the Lightning Buster Gundam or the Dual Blitz Gundam, some of the other mobile suits, the Gelgung Menace, the Gan Storm. Some of these will probably have some marking decals on these decal sheets as well, would be my assumption. So if you wanted some marking decals, specifically for some of these HG Seed Freedom kits, would definitely recommend picking up these as well. Both these decal sets also coming out in September for 500 yen. So I think, as far as I can remember, Bandai typically releases these decal sets 4 at a time. I'm not sure, how or why that started, but for whatever reason, whenever they release those decal sets, they put out 4 different ones usually at a time. So that's how that works out. Now that's it for all the Gundam stuff. Now, like I said, I will briefly touch on some of this other stuff that was announced. We do have a new HG Macross Siegfried kit coming out from Bandai here as well. There's going to be 2 different optional versions for this, a standard version and a deluxe version, which will come with more, including a acrylic stand there for the character, which looks really nice. So I gotta say, if you're planning on checking that kit out, I would opt for the deluxe version. Usually it's worth it to go for the deluxe version, the extra stuff that you get in there. And that's also nice that this is being released as just a standard release and not as a premium Bandai deluxe version. So that's good news. You can also get the decal sheet, as a waterslide decal sheet, going to be coming out for that, sold separately as well too, which again I would recommend. It's going to look a lot better than the stickers, but it's a shame that it's not included with the kit. Some other previous Macross releases from Bandai have included both, as far as I can remember, but it seems like for the HGs they're selling the water slides separately, unfortunately. We're also getting a new Figurized standard amplified Digimon kit here of the amplified Kaiser Greymon. Not really too much information or images on this. Digimon, not something that I'm super into. I have built, I think, 1 or 2 of the Figurized standard amplified kits, and they're really cool kits. They're nice kits. If you're a fan of Digimon, definitely check those out. And this one looks like it's going to be pretty interesting looking. No new announcements of anything new HG Super Robot Wars, unfortunately. We did also have some new 30 minutes missions, including a new 30 minutes missions Armored Core release here. This one being the Aquibus Ad VE40A Open Face. I'm not sure, if I'm reading that naming correctly, but this is definitely a more chunky design, sort of like Dom sort of looks like that. Maybe it could be just the chunkiness and the purple coloring making me think that way. But anyway, pretty cool looking design here with some big hefty weaponry on there as well. And of course, we are getting a sold separately weapon set, another weapon set for the 30 minutes missions Armored Core lineup. This is going to be weapon set 6, was also announced here with some additional weaponry that you can get. And this is all compatible for all the different Armored Core kits, so any of the weapon sets is all compatible. I haven't actually checked out any of the different weapon sets yet, something that I'm definitely looking forward to doing. So far, I've only built just the 30 minutes missions Armored Core kit, and it's really, really nice. So definitely looking forward to checking out some more of those. And then from just the 30 minutes missions line generally, we're getting 2 versions of the Egret. This one being the Egret 01 and 02. There are some slight differences. It looks like they're just color differences, but the design actually for like the head and chest in particular does have different parts. So definitely look carefully at both, and maybe if you're only wanting one, or if you do want both, make your decisions appropriately as far as what you're interested in buying for yourself. But I think both look really cool. I really like the design features of both, with the 01 being more sort of like a high-speed agility sort of looking based design, and the 02 looking more like kind of like a Spec Ops, sort of reminds me of like a Jagan Equus type with that headpiece there, the head visor part there. So definitely some really cool designs there for the line. So really great to see that line continuing with some really interesting releases. We also got some new option part sets. The Exabike vehicle is going to be coming out. It's a new kind of a motorcycle style vehicle that you can get for your 30 minutes missions kits. And then 2 new option parts sets, one being a full armor option set, which looks to be like very similar like what you would get from the full armor version of the Alto, but basically just as an option set that you can get separately. And then the multi-missile set looks like it's just basically some like large missile parts and some really cool effect parts for the missiles. So actually both of those sets do look really nice, and definitely looking forward to checking those out. It's another one that I don't have yet to build and share with you guys that I'm looking forward to actually is the full armor Alto. So really looking forward to checking that one out when I get the chance. You got new versions of the 30 minutes of fantasy kits. We got the Liber Wizard and the Rosen Wizard were both announced, as well as a couple of new option parts sets for that. We also have the item shop 4 set here, the quest option that comes with like some torches and fire, like a campfire kind of parts that you can use with that. So really interesting series so far. Definitely, if you guys are into all the fantasy stuff, it's definitely worth checking out some of those new things. You got some more 30-minute Sisters announcements here too, with the announcement of the Rhaedyra as the new mainline 30-minute Sister release. And she has a really cool design to her as well, with the kind of like sporty design, how she comes with this like kind of hoverboard kind of accessory there too. It's really interesting. We have a new release coming of Ikuyo Kita from Bocchi the Rock there, for those of you guys who may be Bocchi the Rock series fans. Got that release coming out, as well as some more different, much more releases coming out in the 30 Minutes Sisters kind of Idol series model kits here too. So just kind of briefly go through those, but those look really nice. And then lastly, from Space Battleship Yamato, we have the 1/1000 scale Earth Defense Hyuga class combat cruiser. Pretty cool looking ship model there, new one coming out. Looks really nicely detailed, and it looks like a good size kit there as well. And we have some new Pokepla that was announced too. So we have Pokepla coming out of Koraidon and Miraidon, as well as a new Pokepla quick announcement for Jirachi, which I'm looking forward to. Those will be really nice. So I think just about covers most everything, but again, there's more details about all this stuff on Bandai's website and on their Twitter, so just make sure to just check all that out if you're interested. A lot of this stuff I know is already up for pre-order here on the website at USA Gundam Store, so I'll have a link down in the video description if you guys are interested in pre-ordering any of this stuff. Keep in mind, any of the dates and prices that I mentioned in this video is just going off of, the Japan releases, the releases here in Japan, the release date and the release price will be different, so just, you have to just kind of base off of wherever you live. Because if you guys live in, Indonesia or Mexico or Europe, wherever you live, the price and the release date's going to be slightly different. So I just give you guys the information as it is for the Japan releases. it's going to differ otherwise. But let me know in the comment section what you guys are most looking forward to. A lot of really cool new stuff there with the new Gunpla. Really looking forward to that stuff myself, but interested to hear your guys' thoughts. That's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you're most looking forward to. And until next time, hope you all are having a great day. See you guys.